guys, it's Will with Vinyl Appreciation Society. You're watching First Listen. Today we're going to be talking about an adventure somewhere, maybe, by the True Jacqueline. I've got the Bandcamp open here. I want to make sure I don't get any of those details wrong. This is an indie rock band from Western Massachusetts, and they play music that's kind of in the vein of, well, it's a very interesting kind of thing that they do because they take this kind of very sad and somber pop music and they have a little bit of twee influence, but then they also rock really hard, like Sonic Youth, Nirvana, Dinosaur Jr., Built to Spill, like these epic kind of guitar soundscapes, and they kind of crush all that together and make this really amazing, melodic, poppy, rocky indie rock. So if you're here for the quick hit and you want to know, is this record any good? I never heard of it. Should I check it out? You definitely should. I really like this album. I've been listening to it a lot. I had to add the caveat, and actually, here's a fun fact for you. The band that does our theme song for the studio vinyl episodes is this same band. So you've heard them 1,000 times if you watch our show, because that riff, the is the True Jacqueline. That's from their one of their earlier records. So the caveat that I have to add is that I know this band. Their drummer is a really good friend of mine. I used to be in a band with him, and he was a groomsman in my wedding. So hi, Brian. And I actually they sent me this record months and months ago. It wasn't released that long ago, but I've had it for like months at this point. So since they were getting like the masters back, and it was recorded by Justin Pizziferrato, who he engineers for Dinosaur Jr. So I'm pretty sure that he was the sound engineer on Farm, and I bet on Sky, and maybe on Beyond, and then some more recent like Dinosaur or J Mascis solo stuff. So you'll recognize the sound of the record too, because he has a very unique sound, the things that he engineers. You can kind of pick them out if you've heard some of the records that he's worked on.
And some of it was also recorded by Jeff Potlin Grau, whose name I might be mispronouncing. He also goes by the name Orca Age. He's a solo artist, does lots of shredding on guitar, which is really fun, and then also, I guess, records and engineers stuff.
You should not, so don't think that this is tempered by the fact that I know this band, because honestly, if I knew this band and I didn't like their music, I just wouldn't do an episode on it because it would avoid me awkwardly having to pretend to like something I don't like. I would just be like, yeah, that's really good. It's not for our channel. And we don't do a ton of indie rock stuff on here, so you should know that I do really like this because, you know, if it were metal or something, I maybe make a concession because we cover a lot of metal on this channel. But this is a really, really good record. And the thing that I like the most about it is that it has this really intense, emotional, melancholy, kind of sad quality to the ambiance and to the vocal delivery and to the lyrics, but the music in parts is very boisterous and very loud, and everyone in this band is a phenomenal musician. So when I played in a band with Brian, I often felt completely inadequate because he's like miles beyond me as a musician. He's a phenomenal drummer. Kate, who is their vocalist and bass player, is a ridiculous bass player. She's very melodic. And she has really strong presence within the music. And then Noah, who's the guitar player, does a really phenomenal job of layering these kind of melodic guitar lines with the heavier stuff. And it's just a really great kind of like sonic lattice work over which they do the vocals, which are very kind of, like I said, somber, sad, melancholy. And it's this really interesting combination of elements. But the way that they're able to kind of jump around in songs between sounds while keeping it cohesive and coherent lets you know that they really worked on the songwriting here, and I think that's very important, especially with indie rock, because when these genres have been around for so long, because what we know now as indie rock, it began with maybe like REM, right? So which was like 1980 or 1981, and it went through all like Pavement, and then, you know, in the 80s, before even Pavement, you had Sonic Youth, you had Dinosaur Jr., you had all those bands. And then you had the bands in the 90s, Pavement, Built to Spill, all that stuff. And then you get into like the guitar rock revival of the early 2000s, and you've had so many generations of this band, or these bands rather, that it's very easy for a band of this nature to just kind of show up and play in a way that sounds like what we think of as indie rock, and people will respond to it because it has nostalgia value and it's immediately recognizable, right? You don't have to think about it as good music. It's a comfortable sound for you that you relate to. This band very clearly puts a lot of effort, and obviously I do have some personal insight into this because I talk to the band's drummer very frequently, but they clearly put a lot of effort into the composition of the songs, and that really shows in the fact that you can listen to this record over and over again and really enjoy it. So I'm going to give you some songs that I really like. Generation Ship is a great song, and that was actually a song that I'd heard before from a previous release they had, and I wanted to use that for a project I did in film school, but they asked me to wait because they knew they were re-recording it for this album, and they wanted to have like the best quality sound of that song before they put it out. I've been listening to that song for a while, and I really like that song. Psychic Surgery is a great song. And then like kind of the end of the record, Things Left to Do, Subject, Air Conditioning, like it comes to like a really strong conclusion. And there's even one song towards the end, I think it might be Subject, and I'm sorry for getting this wrong, but honestly, I'm just really tired right now. But it has this big, massive section at the end that has a melody that reminds me of the Beatles, like Revolver era Beatles, but has like the heaviness of Black Sabbath. It almost reminds me of Wand. I think the album is called Gollum. It came out maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. That kind of like psychedelic pop mixed with like really heavy Sabbath style riffs.
The hero that you thought you'd be. Helpless free fall transportation gets you there late.
So the band is the True Jacqueline, and the record is An Adventure Somewhere Maybe. We will include links, if you're watching on YouTube, to the Bandcamp so you can go listen to this and purchase it. I heard recently that they are going to be putting this out on vinyl, so that is awesome. I will buy a copy. We will show it off on the show, and you'll be able to see that too. But really, truly, if you support independent and local artists, and you want to put your money where your mouth is and say that you really believe in, you know, independent artists who are going out there and doing their own thing, and like they lose money on this, I'm assuming, right? Because like they're paying to record it themselves, and they're paying for the gas and the time, etc., to go and play shows, buy equipment, stuff like that. So I highly recommend, not just because I know this band, but generally speaking, we on this show highly recommend buying records, spending money on independent musicians, solo artists, etc., bands. Check it out. Highly recommended. Like I said, The True Jacqueline, An Adventure Somewhere Maybe.